Hi,
Hi.
Harni.
Hey,
So here we are. Let's to discuss the most interesting topic of the month, Hacktoberfest. So thanks for joining us. And
Of
you
course.
know, yeah, we will be just going out with a quick round of introductions and starting with you, and then we can go into Hacktoberfest. So
Okay.
yeah,
Starting with me.
yep,
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Earl Duque. I am a developer advocate for ServiceNow. I've been with the company for about a year now, a little bit more than a year. But before that, I was a senior engineer and developer team lead for several customers. And I've jumped around mostly in higher education with one other private company mixed in there. But did development for ServiceNow for about 5 years before I joined ServiceNow proper. I am all things Hacktoberfest for ServiceNow developer program. So that's why Ishan has graciously invited me to talk to everybody today about it. But I'm excited to talk about it because Hacktoberfest is really fun to me. Um, it is 11:30 p.m. So if I'm a little bit for me where I am, so if I'm a little soft spoken, it's because I have a baby asleep upstairs and my wife is also asleep in just around the corner. So I'm trying to be a little bit quieter today, but that explains why I'm a little more subdued than you usually see me online.
yeah. Thanks again for joining us so late. Yep, Harneet, would you like to?
perfect. Thanks, Ishan. So my name is Harneet Singh Seetal. I'm a certified technical architect and I'm working with Accenture now. I've been in the ServiceNow ecosystem for almost 7 years. If I'm not mistaken, I started off with Helsinki version, and since then I've seen a tremendous shift in the ServiceNow versions. And yeah, today I'm here to share my experience with the Oktoberfest last year. So that was my first year being a participant, and hence I'm wearing this T-shirt. But yeah, thanks again, Ishan, for inviting me as well, and welcome all.
Yeah,
Over to you, Ishan.
T-shirt comes with bragging rights. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So yeah, hello everyone. Myself Ishan. I'm a senior technical consultant working with Thirdera, and we'll be going into the stream now, talking about Hacktoberfest, answering some of the questions that you guys have. So a couple of people have reached me out, asking how to do. Even though there are a lot of resources out there, and Amal is also doing office hours every day. So on Twitch, and those are also posted on YouTube, the Service Not Dev Program YouTube channel, if I'm not wrong. And yeah, so well, to start with, just even though I know that the people have seen a lot of posts around social, like LinkedIn, Twitter, but still starting with the basic, what is Hacktoberfest? And you know,
Well,
how,
before we start, you didn't say, Ishan, how many times have you completed Hacktoberfest?
okay, so I've completed that once last year, and I participated at that. So last year we had three items, spokes, and I think four repos we had: syntax micros, code snippets, spoke, and the last one was build an application using AES. So I think I participated in three of those, not the spoke. And again, like I think I'm still in the top 5% of code snippets, sitting there in the so something that I'm very happy about.
Nice.
Yeah, and I did I think 15 pull requests, so I've got a pull shark through that.
Nice.
Still, yeah.
This is my fifth Hacktoberfest participating. I think. Yeah, I think fifth. Okay, so what is Hacktoberfest? And I know Ishan has said that a lot of people might have seen this already online, but for those of you that don't know what Hacktoberfest is something that happens every October, and it's hosted by a different company, not ServiceNow. It's hosted by DigitalOcean, and they put on this event that is focused on Git and source controlled applications and crowdsourcing applications. This idea that we want everyone to collaborate on software, on applications, on code out there in the world. And Hacktoberfest is a celebration of collaboration. And so what they do every year is they put on this contest, this challenge to say, if you participate in a certain amount of collaborative projects on GitHub, then you have completed Hacktoberfest, and we will send you a T-shirt, a ton of stickers, and some other swag and some other gifts just for completing these 4 pull requests that get approved. And that's generally it. It's just a easy way for people to participate in source control. What we do in ServiceNow every year is we basically try to make it so that ServiceNow developers have an easy way to participate, doing the things that you already know how to do, and that's ServiceNow development. And if you're not used to full stack development or creating software in the traditional sense, sometimes collaborative projects on Git can be a little daunting. And so long before me, previous developer advocates said, "Oh, let's make ServiceNow a way for people to participate in ServiceNow repositories." Last year is when I revamped it, and I said it was too hard for us to participate still because some of the ways to participate before were kind of difficult, and so we made it easier, a lot easier, and that's what we want to keep doing. We made it really easy last year, and I made it even more easier this year with multiple different ways you could participate. But that's generally what Hacktoberfest is. It's hosted by a different company, not ServiceNow, but we jump on it so that we all can get the shirts too. That's why I just want the shirt. Really, that's all I really want. I want the shirt.
Yeah. So this time, again, as I spoke earlier, like we had like 4 repo repos last time, and focus on contributing to some syntax micros and some code snippets, and maybe just some applications. So this time, like I've seen, the list is quite long, and
Yeah.
we have got a lot of things going on. Especially like I've seen a lot of movement around. Like I should be ashamed of this. I haven't yet started with it, so I'll be quite busy. But yeah, I'll surely get there. So like why do we had this shift, and we brought in like so many repos and items this time, as in did we have a special reason around it, or
So every year I have this dilemma of, I'm going to start sharing my screen too. So I don't. Is my perfect? Thank you, Ishan. So every year we decide on what things we want people that are doing ServiceNow, what we want people to be able to participate in, what would be fun for them to participate, learn something new in ServiceNow, and or just be able to learn source control in an easy way, in a safe, easy way, so that you can qualify for Hacktoberfest. And so, like you said, Ishan, last year we had 4 to 5 repositories, and we'll talk about that terminology later. We had 4 or 5 applications that people could participate in, and one of the easiest ones people participated in was the code snippets one, which comes back this year. But this year, if you view the ServiceNow blog on Hacktoberfest by going to developer.servicenow.com/blog, you'll see the post on Hacktoberfest, and you'll see that we have more than doubled the amount of things that people can participate in. And we did a couple of things differently than last year. One, we made a lot of our applications easy to participate in, but still required some usage of that application in ServiceNow. Previous years, in code snippets, you could participate without ever touching ServiceNow, technically. And so we wanted to backtrack a little bit from that and encourage actual ServiceNow development, but we still made that participation level really easy. And so on applications like the Recipes app or the Plants app and the Slacker bot app and the soon to release Points Thing app, there are very easy ways to participate in it. And to understand how easy those are, what to do to get those participations in, all you have to do is go to this blog, read through it to understand how to participate. There's videos on how, there's typed out instructions on how, there's a demonstration of what we did live on how to do it. And then pick a project that you want to participate in, and then go. This is important. Everyone forgets this part. Go to the app repository. For this example, I'll go to the recipes app, open it, and then read through the file, the README file, and then read through the contributing file. Both of those files are important. By the time you finish reading those two files, you should know how to participate, and you should have a clear pathway to completion. So it's really simple. Read the blog, and then read one of the projects, the two files, README and contributing, and then go do it. And if you want to do all of your participations, it's dev link. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think it's just
No
I read
problem.
it wrong.
If you want to do all of your participation in one project, that's fine. If you want to spread out your participation across multiple projects, that's also okay. So as long as you're participating, that's what we're hoping for. But that's kind of how to participate. And when you walk through this instructions or watch the video on how to participate, it'll walk you through everything that you need to sign up, because you need a GitHub account. You need to sign up for Hacktoberfest at hacktoberfest.com. And then from there, start doing the ServiceNow work. But we'll get into some of that, because I think right now we're going to talk a little bit about Git, because I think our audience is generally on YouTube and LinkedIn already people that that you all know ServiceNow development. So I'm not going to talk about the ServiceNow side of it, but I think we want to jump in a little bit more about Git, because not everybody knows what Git is.
Yes, definitely, yes. So yeah, that I was just coming to that. Like, what is Git? What is a fork? Like, you know, how do we do a pull request? What is a pull request? What exactly it is?
Sure. So before I keep showing my screen, if you want to take the screen off real quick, I want to just talk over what Git is real quick. Hi again. So what is Git? Because this is what we're trying to use. This is the technology that we're teaching everybody during Hacktoberfest. Git is what people call a version control system. So version control is what you should have in your head. And other people will call it source control. Git is the most popular version control system out there. And what that is a way of tracking changes of code over time. So that idea of, we have a code base or we have an application, and we need to know exactly the history of changes of all of its files over time. Who did what change? Who did what update? Who deleted this file? Who edited one line of code? It's all about tracking changes over time for code. And so if you think about why that's so helpful, the two different systems out there is a centralized system and a decentralized system. Git is a decentralized system. In a centralized system, if you think about, like, there's an application somewhere in the on a server, and every time someone edits it, we all go to that server and we edit files and we edit some things there. But what happens if we're all editing the same file? What happens if someone breaks something and that's this only one version of it, and then it all goes down? There's problems with centralized systems. And so Git is a way to decentralize all that. The version I have of the application, and I have my own application copy, while Harneet has his own copy, and Sean has his own copy. And we can create changes on those without worrying that we're going to affect each other's work, and not worry about breaking production, essentially. And then when we have changes, we can compare it to each other. That's essentially what Git is. We're not only just tracking changes, we're able to replicate entire applications locally. On my own computer has a version of it. I'm going to edit that version, and then when we all are agreed that something is meant to join the main application, we merge it together. And I've already started hinting at some of the terminology here. There's a lot of terminology in Git that requires some understanding, because it can be kind of confusing when you first jump into things. So I'm going to, if you want to pull my screen back up, I'm going to show an app. So remember how I said that we might, instead of all of us working on the same application file or the same centralized location, we might have all our own. Um, Here's an example of this is the main, this repository is what we call it. This is the main version of this app. This is like the production code. So it's hosted by the service. This one particularly is hosted by the ServiceNow Next Experience, and it's called the Hacktoberfest 22 Recipes app. And so this exists out there as a main application, but I don't have editing access to this because this is the production one. And so what I do is I copy this version of the application and I bring it over to my own GitHub account or my own machine by pressing this fork button. I've already forked it, so I'm going to go ahead and click on my own. And now that I clicked on it, you'll see that I'm in my own version of this application, Earl Duque's version of Hacktoberfest 22 recipes, forked from the main one. And so when we talk about how I have my own version and Ishan might have his own version, that's called forks. That basically means I have, if you're driving down a road and you take a fork in the road and now you're split. Now there's multiple versions of this software going out at the same time, and we might cross paths again. We might join together at a different point. Right now we're on different forks, and my fork is completely mine, and I get to work on it as much as I want without worrying I'm affecting the production one or a different fork like Harneet's fork. So when we talk about forks, it's your own version basically. And what's fun about that is you can even make your own. Now it goes into tree terminology. Branches. You in your own fork, you can have branches of different features going on, and you might trim branches. You might combine branches back into your main one, but it's all different things branching out from your own. But what does that look like when you want to combine things? And that's where you hear terminology like commit or push or pull. These are terms that you'll hear when you're talking about Git, and it can be kind of confusing. So what I usually do is I try to illustrate what that looks like for people. And so say again, look, I'm in my own version of my application, and I have my own files, and I can make my own changes. Say I want to go in here and make a change to this application. Maybe a very simple one is I see there's a typo somewhere. Or if I take this application and I put it into my ServiceNow instance, I add a new business role, or I add a new script include that I want included. Whenever I make changes to this application, and I'll make a small little change here, I'll say, oh, and then I'll go down here and it says like, so here I'm committing a change. I'm committing something I'm editing code. It's basically inside of this database. And whenever you do something or change something in your own application, you're committing it to that code. So when I press commit, it is now part of that file, and my application now has been updated. And if I go back to the code, you'll actually see the last change that happened 11 seconds ago was by me, and it was me updating the README file. So that was me committing something, but I want to change the terminology of commit a little bit and pretend that if this is a code base, if you see my hands, if this is my application, when I committed code to it, it's like, I want you to visualize, oh, look, our screens are bigger. I'm not used to Restream. This is cool. If you see the app, if this is my application, and I'm committing something to it, I'm taking that code and I'm pushing it into my application. I'm literally taking that code and pushing it inside of it. So that is one way to put it. You're pushing code into a application or into a repository. And that's an important terminology, because what we're going to talk about and how you qualify for Hacktoberfest is doing this thing called a pull request. And so I have updated my version of the application, and now I'm ready to ask for the people that maintain this application, the main one that I forked from, I want to ask them to include my change in the actual application, because then future forks from the main application will have my change. And if this is like a production application, now my change is going to go into production. And that's what I'm looking for. So a pull request, and to qualify for Hacktoberfest, you need to successfully submit 4 accepted pull requests. But before I show you what that is or how to do it, let's talk about what that means. Because if we're all new to Git, this is good terminology to know. Remember, I pushed code into it, and now I want that code to be merged into the main application.
Yeah.
And so what a pull request is me asking the person that I forked from, I'm asking them like, hey, I pushed code into mine. Can you pull that code from mine and push it into yours? So that's the terminology that you need to think about. Is I've already pushed code into mine, and a pull request is I'm requesting that someone else pulls my code and puts it into theirs. So that's why they call it push and pull.
Yeah.
And that's what a pull request is. You're essentially requesting a pull of your code.
So pushing is ideally okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Ishan.
Yeah, pushing is ideally like me committing something into my repo, and then pulling is the actual maintainer or the repo owner gets in the work that I did and makes the part of the complete application or the complete repo that we have. So
it's interesting because the person that's maintaining the main wherever you're making a pull request to, whoever is maintaining the entire application, they're technically doing both. If they pull my code, they are pushing that code into theirs. So it's a combination. They didn't necessarily write that push. I wrote that push, but they're pulling it from mine and pushing it into theirs. So
yeah.
it's like my code is bouncing around to other people's repositories now.
Yeah.
In ServiceNow, that is, and not Service, in GitHub, that looks like this. You go, once you've made changes, you go to the tab that says pull requests and click on new pull request. And then you'll see I'm saying, hey, I have my repository and I want to push my code. I want to push my code into the main one. So can one of you pull my code and push it into your repository? And if there's no conflicts, and GitHub does all these really cool automatic checks. And if there's no conflicts, it'll say automatically mergeable. And that means when I create this pull request, it'll be easy for the maintainer to accept it because there's no conflicts, and they'll just be able to say yes, and it'll automatically pull my code and push it into theirs. Right now, I have made a lot of other changes behind the scenes, so that's why it shows can't automatically merge. But in most of the cases that we are encouraging you to participate in Hacktoberfest this year, a lot of your code will be automatically mergeable because we've set it up so that most people won't conflict with each other. And that's what makes it also really easy, because you can make changes without worrying you're going to affect other people's stuff. Whew, that's a lot of Git terminology. Ishan, Harneet, do you have any questions? Do you think there's anything I can explain more about terminologies? There's more terminology out there, but that's the main part of it. And if you go through the documentation and the instructions, you'll learn more about it as you go along.
Well, you pretty much covered most of these aspects. And again, for anybody who's listening in, if you actually want to understand these terminologies, how actually it has been used, you can actually go to the Friday session, the live Happy Coding Hours session. You'll actually see Earl doing all of these on his screen. So you'll be able to understand what he's doing, probably be able to replicate them as you go as well. So I think, yeah, that's something that you can actually look for. So I do have a question, which is again not related to the terminologies that we're using right now, but are we only allowed to use GitHub as the repo, or can we use any other Git repos as well, like GitLab?
So in ServiceNow, if you're a ServiceNow developer, you are open to use any Git software that you have. You can use GitHub, you can use GitLab, you can create your own local Git hosted on a server, and it never goes and touches the outside world because it's all locally hosted. That's the power of Git. It's open source, and you can have your own version of Git itself, and connect it to your ServiceNow instance in any way you want. For Hacktoberfest specifically, to participate, it's GitHub. So if you're used to GitLab, or if you're used to any other one, you're going to want to learn GitHub for this situation, but it's generally similar to almost everywhere else. So, and it's good to have a GitHub account because there's so many people on GitHub. And so if you ever do collaboration projects in the future, GitHub's usually the place people go to. But I know some people don't like that. Like Microsoft owns it now, and or if you rather have you go on GitLab because it's a little bit it's a smaller company and stuff like that. It just depends on what you want. But for Hacktoberfest, you're going to want to do GitHub.
Sorry, and again, last one. So again, can we actually contribute as a reviewer this time? So I think last year it was open to being able to contribute as a reviewer as well. Considering these now Hacktoberfest terms.
Ishan, are you hearing that too? It's hard for me to hear, Harneet.
Harneet, I think you're breaking up. Like, it's a robotic pull shot.
Yeah. The entire time I was like, oh, it's hard to understand Harneet, but I think I heard what he said.
Okay. Maybe I'll just type it in.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
Ishan, do you know what he asked at the last point? I couldn't hear him.
Yeah. Hey, honey. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, all good. I think it's put. So, can people contribute as reviewers, or is it limited? Can people contribute as reviewers, or is it limited? No, I think it's limited, right?
Yeah. So last year, Hacktoberfest or DigitalOcean, I mean, they presented a way where you could be a maintainer of repositories and also receive credit for participating. I did that also that way, but I never saw anything come of it. So the best way to participate in Hacktoberfest is creating your pull request. Being a maintainer doesn't necessarily mean you'll get credit, because I don't know how that works because I've never seen it complete on my end. But they say there's a way to do it as a maintainer, but I just haven't seen it work. So the safest way to participate is just get those pull requests in.
Yeah. Nice.
And
so,
you hear that terminology of reviewer or maintainer, and those are additional terminologies that are good to know. A reviewer is someone that has been assigned to review code changes. So if you submit a pull request, a bigger company or a bigger project might assign individuals to review your code changes and actually approve or recommend changes before it being deemed a good change or an acceptable change. And then once they submit that review, then a person assigned to your pull request is what they call a maintainer of the repository, will be able to accept it and actually merge your code into the database, or into the repository, I mean, the code base. So that's some terminology. The maintainers and reviewers are the people that are acting on your pull requests.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think there's an option to do that, but like if we are doing it on ServiceNow repos, it's limited to specific people, and that's how it should be. Nice.
Yeah, and I see Phil made a good point too. So the reason why a lot of people used GitLab before was because GitLab used to be free private repos. GitHub had a limited number of private repos, or if you had a student account, then you had unlimited private. But they have recently gone, you can have as much private repos as you want. And like I think if you ever visit my GitHub profile, up here, I have a lot of repositories. I have 82, but like half of them are private because a lot of it is like I made it for a certain company and I can't show it, or it's a work in progress or something like that. So having private repositories was very valuable because then you can do private work, or you can take something down if you leave a company, kind of thing. So that's why if you actually visit my profile, I have a lot less open repositories than displayed here.
Yeah. Nice. So I just know that LinkedIn is not mainstream. So either one of those.
Perfect.
Right.
So I think the next part you wanted me to talk about is Hacktoberfest challenges this year and experience from this previous year. So the main applications I want to highlight, I don't want to go through all of these because you could just read upon a lot of them, but the ones I want to highlight are the ones that are easy to participate in. One of the coolest ones that we have right now is this bot right here, the Slacker bot. The reason why is if you go to it, you could participate in this bot, the creation of this bot in the parsers folder without actually having to create all of this application inside ServiceNow. It helps that you pull this into ServiceNow and set it up, but uh, I have made automations that push code from GitHub automatically to a production server that we host the bot on in ServiceNow. And so that automation from GitHub to ServiceNow is something that a lot of people that do ServiceNow development probably don't know how to do. But if you're ever interested in knowing that, you can go and fork this repository and see the cool automations that we have hidden behind the scenes of what automatically runs whenever you do a pull request. But this app, this Slacker bot app, controls the bot Slacker bot on the devs.com Slack server, where a lot of developers hang out to answer questions and create community. And this bot, whenever you update this bot in this year, it automatically updates the bot live. So any of the cool things you make for this bot happen immediately on the actual Slack server so that people could see the fun things you've made. A lot of people have participated in it, which is really fun.
Yeah, I see a lot
The
of
other
traction.
thing. Oh, go ahead.
All good. All good.
So the next
Yeah, all
the
good.
next repository I wanted to show though, there's two of them, the recipes app and the plants app. So I talked about the recipe app, but these two apps are hosted by our friends over at the ServiceNow Next Experience. And why I want to highlight these repositories is because there's a really, really easy way for you to participate. And all you have to do is take this repository, go into ServiceNow, and I can actually demonstrate that. Go into ServiceNow.
We can see that logo.
Yeah, my bouncing logo. Oh, forgot my own password. Hold on. If you know if it's a Earl instance because it has the bouncing logo.
Yep.
So take the repository, go into your ServiceNow personal developer instance, go to Studio, spin up System Applications Studio, and then go to Import from Source Control, get the URL of the repository. So this one is up here, github.com/ServiceNow devprogram/plants. If you don't have a credential for GitHub created, make sure to create one, and I'll talk about that in a second. Change this branch to main, then import it. That's all. And then that app becomes live on your personal developer instance, and now you are able to work within it. To finish participating in it, if you see contributing.md, there's instructions on how to just simply submit a plant or a recipe in the recipes app into the repository, and that's enough for us to say yes, thank you for participating. We accept that pull request because building up a plant encyclopedia, and we're building up a recipes cookbook on these applications. So if you submit that one extra file, then that's enough for us to say thank you for participating in this repository. And if you do 4 total, then you qualify for Hacktoberfest. But one of the things I want to point out on stream for anybody watching, one of the things that people get hung up a lot here on ServiceNow Studio is the credential. This one right here. When you create the credential record, it's your username on GitHub for the it's a basic credential. So when you create the credential, you'll have an option to choose. Pick the one that says basic authorization. And then your username is your GitHub username. That's easy. But your password for this is not your GitHub password. This confuses a lot of people. The password that you need to put for your credential is a token that you have to create for yourself. And how to do that is to go into GitHub, click on your face up here, go down to settings, and then at the very bottom, there's a developer settings tab, and then there's a tab called personal access tokens. This is where you will generate a new token, and that is the token that you use as your password in ServiceNow for GitHub. So that's one of the gotchas that a lot of people get stuck on when if this is your first time combining a sourced application with source control from Git. So that's a good thing to know.
Yeah, and I think same gets used in our studio or either, even creating an application from AES as well. Like,
Yeah, similar to that. In App Engine Studio, it's a similar process. I just our apps are designed to be used regardless of what version of ServiceNow you're using. And so if you're not using App Engine Studio, I usually show the regular Studio version of it. And you might have there's a lot of questions of, don't forget that you need to fork your repository first, or don't forget that you need to do this or something. Remember, this is all mapped out in our instructions. Just follow the instructions on the blog up here under process, and follow the contributing and README files, and you should be able to get through everything. We try to make it as clear as possible, and if it's not clear, let us know or help us update it. And that could be your pull request too, is updating the documentation. That also helps.
Yeah, so it's all out there. You just need to read it out and start contributing. Nice. All right.
Perfect.
Hey.
And I think, and the last application, the last repository I'll highlight, it's the one that returned from last year. A lot of participation. Code snippets. This is the easiest one to participate in, because you don't even have to combine it. You don't have to bring it into ServiceNow. You can just fork this repository and contribute. Everyone's been providing good code snippets that they've used inside ServiceNow, and remember to follow the contributing guidelines, or else it might not get accepted. But you'll see that a lot of people have made their own versions of this and have contributed. There's been more than 2,400 commits since it's been made. That's 2,400 times people have pushed code into this. So that's how often it's been updated. So it's very cool. And Ishan, what he mentioned earlier is there's a leaderboard on this one, and so if you can see who's the top participants on here. Oh, there you are. So you can see all the people that have contributed to this, and it's a lot of people, and you can be part of this. The moment you contribute something, you'll pop up on this bottom list, and then the more you participate, you'll rise up through the ranks. And it's just a little kind of bragging rights of saying, oh, I was in the top 5%.
Yeah, definitely.
Some familiar names. There's Pranav, there's Ishan, there's Nia, Alikari.
Yeah.
Me. Yeah.
Mohit, Kaushik, yeah.
Nice. It's been great. A lot of people participated last year with code snippets. This year I'm highlighting the other applications because we want people to have more quality participation this year, and Code Snippets is admittedly a quantity over quality situation. We just wanted people to be able to do something related to Hacktoberfest, but we're encouraging people to spread your wings. If you only have done Code Snippets before, try the other applications, try the other repositories, because you have a lot to learn by trying something new. And so it's Code Snippets is still there, but if this isn't your first time, try something new. I encourage it.
Yeah, and also it might.
We're on track. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, don't talk so good. But I was just saying that we might also get something that might duplicate over there. I think there's a lot of resources. Sometimes I go in there and use some things that have been contributed, and some people have also contributed interesting widgets. I think if there's a Batman
Yeah.
widget by I think that was by Pranav, and so there's really interesting stuff in there, and that can be picked up and used. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that people have submitted to the Code Snippets repository. And I know last year we had a lot of participation in this one, but this year we've had so much participation across multiple things. So this is my little tracker right now. You'll see that a lot of people have participated with the Slacker bot, a lot of people in Code Snippets, a lot of people with recipes. How many people have created their own forks of all of them? There's been a lot. And so we're on track to have more participation this year than we did have in previous years, which is really fun. And a lot of that is quality participation, which is really nice.
That's another. Yep. Nice. All right. So, Anik, do you have anything to add on?
Yeah, I
Yes,
think am I audible
something
now?
happened. Yeah, right now it's good for me at least. Well,
Yeah, perfect. Maybe I think I was just talking
I'm
about the
trying to think of
experience.
what else I can.
Sorry. Go ahead.
What were you talking about?
hey,
Sorry.
okay. But
I didn't hear the question.
he was talking about the experience that he had last time contributing. As he has got a cool story with the T-shirt as well. He was telling me that earlier.
I know
So
I forgot to wear my T-shirt for this stream, but I have 3 of the T-shirts so far. I have a 4th T-shirt, but I finished that year too late, and so the only size they had was way too small for me, and so now it's my wife's.
yeah. So I got a chance of having 2 these T-shirts, and I did a similar one for not my wife. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we can hear you all right. Like, if you try,
Yeah.
making, turning off your video, and
Are you guys able to hear me now? Is it all right?
yeah, it's perfect right now, at least.
Perfect. Sorry.
For now.
Awesome. So again, I was just sharing my experience as well, and I think this will actually encourage people to participate, because again, last year was my first time participating in the Hacktoberfest as a challenge. Again, quite new concepts for me because I had never used Git before, and again, all the blogs really helped. So again, if you're just following the blogs, if you're actually watching the videos, you'll be able to actually understand what needs to be done, and then you'll be able to contribute. Again, my personal experience was again, I started off very small. I actually started contributing to the code snippets. Again, I was into that section, but really what I learned was, first thing is that start learn using Git. A lot of customers, a lot of people are actually using Git for multiple various purposes, not just for ServiceNow, but even if you have coding interests outside of ServiceNow, people are using Git. So it's a good way to relate now your ServiceNow and your Git experience into learning something new. Um, and again, as everybody is saying here, right? So you get to get a free T-shirt as well, and along with that, you get a lot of cool stickers. So again, there's gifts at the back of it. After that, I think, yeah, I've started contributing to a lot of other things as well. It's not just Hacktoberfest. So throughout the year, you'll see a lot of good challenges, a lot of good you know, uh, events happening where ServiceNow is helping you learn new stuff, and in turn, they're giving you T-shirts, rewards. So do participate, and again, quite good learnings again there. So Earl is again going home.
I still have all my stickers that I've never used.
My little Chuck
Yeah,
sticker here.
Here's my
it's a funny story.
Slack server one.
And there's quite a here is thanks to Casey.
Yeah, Casey sent me that one too.
Funny story. I lost all my stickers last year. I only managed to get my T-shirt back because I switched my house last year in November. I moved out of my previous house, went into a new one. So my parcel somehow got displaced, and I was only managed to get this T-shirt in January, even though I think it was dispatched and I think it was delivered way back in November. So lucky that I've at least got the T-shirt here. But again, this year I'm aiming to get those stickers back as well.
Nice. Did you I already signed up for my t-shirt and ordered it, so the moment your
Yeah.
4 pull request age for 7 days. So once you submit 4 pull requests and they get merged into the repository, you wait 7 days, and then once those 7 days is finished, then they send you the link to order your swag bag immediately. So I think last Friday I already got mine ordered in.
Yeah, bragging rights. I need to order. I need to contribute. I'll do it.
Okay. Ishan, sorry, just
All
considering
right,
the
so-
time and sorry.
No, it's all good. So I was just saying that LinkedIn Live didn't work for some reason. I'm not sure what has happened there. It's showing it is live from the studio, but there's no video. So just had YouTube viewers joining us, and yeah. So couple of items that we can probably share are call of content. Content is out, and the offers are going to be running every week. So the first one was today, and the next one will be on 19th and 18th, based on 19th and 20th, based on where you are at in the world. And yeah, so if you want to speak at CreatorCon, join those hours, bring your idea up, and the dev have to team is there to help you, even if you don't have an idea. So I usually go there, even if I don't have anything.
As a little bit of a secret, it's a kind of a secret that people don't realize, but those who attend the CreatorCon office hours are usually the ones that get approved for talking automatically, because we've already vetted your talk and we've helped you figure out what would be approved. And so it helps a lot attending those office hours, especially if you're hoping to present at Knowledge next year, which is has already been announced, and the dates are locked in for May next year. So
Yeah.
here's your way to get to Las Vegas and be a well, if there's a virtual component, then that too. But we don't know what the details are for that yet. But Knowledge at Las Vegas has been confirmed, and this is a great way to get it there. Go to the blog. You'll see the blog post for when, and the links for the CreatorCon office hours. Ishan was one of the first attenders this year, so got to the very first one.
Yeah, let's see what I come up with. And you also get to talk to the advocates, like just that
Yeah, myself, Chuck Tomasi, Jason,
Jason.
who's the liquor bot, Lauren attends the morning ones. So we're all there. So if you want to hang out with me or Chuck or any of else of us, we're all there every day or every office hours.
every office hour. Yeah. And yeah, so and also the meetups are happening. So join your local meetup. You can check out the devlinks.sn/meetups link to access all the ServiceNow meetups. And yeah, I think that's all that I had. So anything that you have going to share with
Hacktoberfest and
share with the
CreatorCon
audience.
is my main things.
Yes. It's a bit of happy. Right? It's also a birthday month. Like I've got my birthday like on 15th. So a long
More reasons
session.
to celebrate.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Ishan,
Yeah.
sorry, I
Thanks,
think
Al.
there's just
So,
bit of
yeah.
a teaser that you would like to give for our next session. Again, it's going to be an amazing session. We are inviting somebody who has got a lot of experience, and it's something as a buzzword as well in the community right now. So I'll give you a hint. It starts with ServiceNow community. So it's happening towards the end of the month, and again, yeah. So we'll be sharing the details quite soon. So once everything is finalized, we'll be sharing those details out. So do watch out. Awesome. Thanks, Ishan. Thanks, Earl.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you all for joining us this late. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone.